This is the What Editors Want podcast, interviews with writers and editors to give you immediate insights into the writing and freelance journalism world.
Okay, hi guys, welcome back to the Pitch Wisdom Travel Writer podcast. I've got with me a really interesting guest today, Philipp Meier. Philip, hi.
Hi, Jameson.
You're coming in from Thailand. Is it Bangkok you're based in at the moment?
No, I'm based in Phuket.
In Phuket, all right, got it. Now, Philip, I'm really looking forward to talking to Philip because actually the last guest I had on the podcast, and I don't do this podcast very regularly, but the last woman I interviewed was Lola Akinmade. And as I said in that podcast, she is kind of the travel writer I think of when I think of somebody who has kind of achieved and won it all. She's written for all the big names. She's a very well-known writer and photographer. And Philip, you are kind of coming from the beginning of that stream, if you like. You're not exactly a total novice or a total rookie. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is because having been a kind of a struggling travel writer for many years, you've now actually been published by CNN Travel, Nat Geo Traveller, the South China Morning Post, and Culture Trip, just to name a few. So you've kind of broken through that ceiling, if you like. But you are still kind of, I would describe you at the start of what could be a very long career as a travel writer. Do you think that's a correct summary of where you are right now?
You mentioned Lola Akinmade, and it's an honor to be compared with Lola Akinmade because while I've written or while I've broken into CNN Travel, I don't yet write for top-tier publications on a regular basis. And that is my goal, to get regular commissions that the editors actually pitch me, and I don't need to pitch anymore. So it's still a challenge here to get my name in publications like CNN Travel or UK publications particularly.
Because actually a few years ago you reached out to me for some coaching, and we did work together a little bit. Kind of finessing some of your ideas and some of your pitches and stories and this sort of stuff. So I wouldn't, that's obviously that's a great thing to do. You've obviously shown that you're kind of dedicated to learning as much as you can here. But that was in a period where you were writing for free a lot, I think, which is its own kind of very hotly debated topic. How do you feel now about writing for free as you were doing those years ago?
I think for the first 2 or 3 articles, it's a good idea to get a few bylines, but at some point you have to say no. You can't go on for very long if you want to make writing, if you want to write for a living. So
why were you doing it? What was going through your mind about writing for free back in those days?
I was happy that I would write an article and see it online and see my name there. I know some writers say that you should not write for free at all, but let's face it, any newbie cannot, even if the idea is good, a newbie cannot sell an article at the very beginning. It's particularly hard for a rookie writer to sell an article. I know how hard it is to write a good pitch and to get it accepted. And I think it's better to write for free at the beginning, but you have to know when it's the time to stop and to sell your work.
Yeah, and like you said, you still don't feel like you've made it, right? It's still kind of difficult to get those regular commissions coming in from the big names that pay proper money. So describe your situation right now. Like I say, you've been traveled by some really great names, CNN Travel and Nat Geo and SCMP. But were they kind of just basically one-off pitches where the idea was what sold the piece rather than your relationship with the editor? And how is your relationship with these editors and these publications today?
As for CNN Travel, I pitched Color Grips years ago, and I remember at the beginning she once expressed interest, but then never got back to me again. And then I kept pitching for like 2 or 3 years without getting a response. And suddenly she got back to me and said, yeah, this profile on that former Thai boxer turned Bangkok chef. She said that was a perfect fit for the Living the Dream series. And so, yeah, that actually shows that editors keep reading your pitches, so you're not blacklisted. They wait for that one idea that fits the publication. And so, yeah, just keep going and don't take it personal when you don't get a response. So.
Exactly. And would you describe the CNN travel piece as your highlight piece so far?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
How did it feel when you got that positive response?
Very, very excited. And I knew, once the pitch was accepted, I knew I still have to write as best as I can. And yeah, because it's obviously a top tier publication. But yeah, I delivered. So it worked. But it's still my best story so far. And I know that it won't get easier getting published in, say, Condé Nast Traveller or the Chinese or the Telegraph. Yeah, these UK publications.
Mm-hmm. So just tell us, you mentioned there you were pitching the CNN travel editor in Asia, Carla, who was actually based in Thailand, I think, in Bangkok. You were pitching her for several years, and she didn't even respond to you. And then suddenly she did respond to this pitch. Can you remember what those pitches were, the ideas were that you were pitching unsuccessfully, and how they compared to the one that was successful?
These were adventure stories, and maybe, they have they do publish roundups, but maybe they have staff writers who write those pieces. But those are perfect. I pitched the roundups and also adventure stories. I think one of those pieces was the one that eventually got accepted by the South China Morning Post on that jungle adventure in Khao Sok in Thailand. And yeah, you have to, of course, you should study the publications. I know that I also have pitched editors without properly reading the publications, so that is something you should do. Yeah, so you know exactly what kind of stories they run.
And like you say, the one that Carla finally accepted actually tied in very nicely with the series that they were running at the time. So that was kind of a bit of luck, I guess. But it doesn't hurt to actually pay attention to these sorts of things. And if you do have a story that fits into a series that you know they're running, then obviously they're going to be looking for ideas along those themes, which is can be a good in if you can find it.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. So let's talk. Sorry, carry on.
Yes. You asked me about the relationship with editors. South China Morning Post, I've worked with Mark Futter and also with Charmaine Mop. And yeah, she's the culture editor now, and they keep pitching her stories because, she seems interested.
Have they, when you pitch those guys, do you get a nothing response again, or do they actually give you feedback in some degree so that you know what you're doing you can fine tune it for the next time?
No, it's still either she gets back to me because she's interested, or I don't hear back from them at all.
Right.
The Marks, especially the busy Mark Futter, if he's interested, he tends to forward the pitch to the Nat editor, and get back to me directly. Yeah, but most of the times you just hear nothing. Radio.
Yeah. And that's been the way that editors work for decades. I think I remember when I was running my travel writer blog on a more regular basis, I asked my audience, what's the biggest problem you have as a freelance travel writer? And the biggest one by far was just not hearing back from editors. You know, you feel like you're pitching into a black hole so much of the time. But your experience suggests that even though you hear nothing back, they're still reading those pictures, right? And it's just that they're waiting for one that comes in the ring that checks all the right boxes, and then they will get back to you.
Exactly.
All right, so let's talk about money, if you don't mind. We mentioned kind of writing for free there, which is it's a very kind of hot potato topic. People fall either one side or the other. I'm kind of a little bit ambivalent to you. I used to be a very big no guy on that, but I think, like you say, there are certain circumstances where it can help. But obviously, writing for money is the aim of the game here. So, can you give us an idea how what are the kind of fees that you're getting from these publications? And I know that the BBC kind of offers a very flat fee, but were you able to negotiate at all with CNN or Nat Geo or SCMP, or were they all just standard flat fees as well?
These were standard flat fees offered, and I mean, I was so happy to get the yes. I didn't dare to argue or ask for a higher fee. I just wanted to get my name in there, and so accepted the flat fee because it was I mean, it was a pay. It was not a low paying commission, you know.
Sure. And these fees, they hover around the $250 to 400 mark. Is that roughly right?
Roughly, and some publications also pay for pictures.
Right. And did you manage to sell some pictures with these pieces?
Yes, but like one publication paid for 4 pictures, not for all of them, only for 4. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's good extra money. So if they do pay, that's an added bonus. Yeah, that's good.
Sure. So we mentioned a few kind of learnings and things that you did correctly to start winning some of these pictures you've been going for along, for many years. Is there any other kind of stuff that you think back and think, yeah, when I did that really worked, or if I did that really didn't work? Good tips and kind of mistakes you made, if you can think of any.
Yes, I think what I've noticed over the years is editors, particularly those big name publications, they're looking for stories that appeal to a broad audience. Like, to give you an example, even after one pitch that for Cathay Pacific Airways, even after that got accepted already, there was a pitch about the Bangkok neighborhood of Talatnoy that was only about the cafes. And I pitched the story about cafes, and suddenly the editor got back to me and said, oh, we also want galleries and shopping. And then I realized, they really want something that appeals to a broad audience and not just coffee aficionados, coffee lovers. Mm-hmm. And also one of the UK publications, the editor of the iPaper, I think, she once expressed interest in that Talatnoy pitch and go back to me with the question, would it be reductive to framing it as Talatnoy being the new Khao San Road as the backpacker Mecca or the backpacker haven? And I realized, they're looking really for something that appeals to a broad audience, not just that small neighborhood, but Bangkok as a whole. So I think it's easier to sell stories that a lot of people would be interested in, not just coffee lovers or.
Yeah, I mean, it's an old audience. I think it's also about that kind of headline. It's about that big headline. If you can say something is the new Khao San Road, that's a big headline, right? That's a big statement. And for sure, that's always the kind of stuff that I'm looking for as well, and have been looking for years now. It's that kind of those big headlines that really grab the attention, because they're the ones most likely to get traffic and get shared and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, for sure, I can see that happening. Any mistakes? Anything you regret?
Mistakes? Just not reading the publications. That, I mean, it just, you can get lucky, but generally you just don't get back from it. If you pitch something, and you might even annoy the editor if you do it repeatedly, like pitch stories that the publication doesn't even run, or not exactly the I mean, they might want travel stories, but they might only do roundups on Europe, not roundups on Asia. Or you have to know what they could be interested in, and other mistakes, maybe pitch the wrong editor. Like if it's a big publication, you pitch the culture editor instead of the travel editor, or this.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think editors pass on a pitch that isn't suited for them to the correct editor, but you can't always count on that, obviously. So yeah, it pays to do your research for sure.
Yeah, and also on that note, what kinds of stories editors could be interested in is should be adventures that people can replicate. Like I've pitched a story on Sangklaburi that's really out in the sticks in Thailand, and never heard back. So I guess that's because the people can't, or few people would replicate that adventure. Few people would go there, so it has to be a destination that is not completely out in the sticks.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I think I would say if you can find a really big headline for a place that's out in the sticks and say, this place is the world's best or biggest or worst or whatever it is, thing, then it's kind of an interesting story in its own right, whether people can get there or not. But yeah, I guess to a large degree, travel writing is meant to promote places and destinations that people can then experience for themselves. So yeah. And I guess we should mention at this point that the reason you do a lot of Thai stuff is because you are based in Phuket in Thailand. So all your pitches are from Thailand, basically, aren't they? I mean, I know you've done a few kind of listicle research pieces, a culture trip and that sort of thing that you can just do with a bit of Googling. But most of your actual travel writing, most of the stuff you actually go ahead and do yourself is in Thailand and in places that you've then seen and experienced yourself. So do you think that, I mean, and that kind of the stuff you've been pitching for a long time, is actual experiences that you have done with photos that you've taken, which is kind of the epitome of great travel writing. It's not just desk research stuff. But do you find it, how do you kind of compare the costs of doing that and the time and the effort against the likelihood of winning a pitch and winning a commission off the back of it? Do you pitch first and then go on the trip, or do you do the trip and get the stories together and then start pitching? What's your workflow like?
Actually, I travel first and then pitch. I mean, I know it would be best to really know, this publication wants this kind of story. Okay, now I'm doing this as a consequence. But it's just, it doesn't fit into my work schedule. Fortunately, I have regular work. I copy for villas now, and this pays the bills, and travel writing hopefully one day will become a main source of income. But for now, it just feeds my passion, and so I travel, and if I discover, or if I meet inspiring people, or embark on an epic adventure and come back from traveling, then I'll prepare a pitch and I see which kind of publication could be interested in. But I know it would be better to first pitch and then go traveling. But I mean, even the pitch, while it should be short and snappy, you have to add details, and for all this color to add is I feel it's better to travel first. So yeah, you have to know what can you afford. If you want to write for a living, then maybe travel writing is difficult, because like these publications that pay $1 a word, like New York Times, is I haven't managed to get my name in there yet. So
but it's, I mean, the model you have, I mean, there's a couple of interesting points there. Like you say, for a pitch, to give a pitch its best chance of success, you need that detail. You need to find an angle that maybe other writers haven't found. And you can really only get that by going to a place and talking to the people first. So there's kind of a bit of a chicken and egg situation here, because you do that, you pay the costs, but you don't know if it's going to sell. But it does give you the better chance of selling, I would say. But the other point you made here is that, you know, you're basically doing copywriting for some villas. Did you say, is there like a villa website or something, right? So you're copywriting to pay the bills and to earn a regular income, but that is then funding your travels for you to chase your dream of being a full-time travel writer. That doesn't seem like a bad way to do it, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the way to grow, because travel writing, make a living from travel writing, and start out even now a year or two. That's the challenge.
So how did you get your gig as a copywriter for this villa?
I was fortunate enough that they reached out to me. They apparently saw some articles on LinkedIn, and then they checked out my portfolio on Draft Media, and then they got back to me. They emailed me. Asked, okay, and yeah, that's how I got my foot in the door.
So a good lesson there for keeping your LinkedIn and Trav Media profile up to date and all that sort of stuff, I guess. Digital marketing. Mm-hmm. So what I would like actually to do very quickly, Philip, is for you to talk us through your CNN travel commission. We've already heard that, you know, you were pitching Carla, the editor there, for many years, didn't hear anything. Take us through the steps. You sent her this pitch. Was it a brand new pitch? Did you fine tune it or modify it in any way? How did the idea come to you? And then once Carla got back to you, how did it all pan out?
The idea actually was last year I went to Singapore to attend Draft Media Summit, National Media Marketplace, and I met the PR there. And yeah, I checked out the website after that event and saw that they had villa in the portfolio in Bangkok. And I said I was going to Bangkok, meet those people, and we then the PR told me about that interesting chef, the Swedish Dane, who used to be a Thai boxer and then studied economics in Thailand, and then became a Bangkok chef. So while they wanted me to write a restaurant review, I knew it would be easier to find a home for the story. Like it would be easier to do a profile on that chef that actually write a restaurant review. The editor of the South China Morning Post wants that really wants that I receive feedback. She said they only do restaurant reviews if the restaurant is brand new and if it's in Hong Kong or China, and not a Thailand restaurant it's not brand new. That's not new. Yeah, it has to be really a few months old, but not 2 or 3 years old. So anyway, that's how I stumbled across this idea, and then I pitched. Of course, I tweaked the pitch a little, and then because I have pitched other publications before I sent the pitch to Carla, and it worked.
So you pitched the same stories to other publications, but they didn't take it?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Actually, from
back to you.
Yeah, actually, BBC expressed interest. Like once CNN already accepted BBC for back to the World's Table. Said it's a really good pitch, but blah blah blah. I don't remember the details, but they were too late anyway. But other publications, they just get back to me. But 3 publications were interested in this story. Like S&P wanted it, S&P wanted it, but CNN had already accepted that story. That's also another topic. Now we're touching on upon the topic of simultaneous
pitching. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
which I always recommend. And people worry about it for exactly this reason. Well, what if 2 or 3 get back to me? Then you have to choose. But that's a good position to be in, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first time. That was the first time that 2 publications wanted the same story. So I'm also an advocate of simultaneous pitches.
And what I always suggest in that situation is fine tuning the idea for the second publication that gets back to you, saying, I'm sorry, this is already sold to CNN, but I can give you a slightly different angle on this, or a different write-up or something, because I've done the same thing. I've pitched the same idea, or at least I've sold the same interview has led to 2 stories in 2 different publications that I pitched differently. So I think there's kind of, there are lessons there as well in how to reformat something that's happened from a single experience into different versions for different outlets. But so Carla expressed interest, and then what was it? She just said, yes, I'd like it. Here's the fee. Can you get it to me on this date? Or was there kind of some back and forth?
No, it was like she immediately accepted this. She said that she thinks that this would be a perfect fit for the Living the Dream series. She just said, focus more on she said, while the cuisine is important, focus more on the person side of his story. So yeah, mentioned the cuisine, and then
it's the character. He's the protagonist, I guess, if you like. Boxer to chef. That I immediately know that's an interesting story. So yeah.
But I think in the end, but that shows, like I was right when I knew, when I had a feeling that the restaurant review would be more difficult to pitch than this profile.
For sure. Yeah, because there are 1,000 restaurant reviews written every day. There aren't many stories about boxers turned chefs written every day, right? So that's the angle. Yeah. Okay. So what are your future plans, Philip? What's the next stage? Are you just kind of doing the same stuff, or are we? Do you have any other commissions in progress at the moment, or are you looking around for new ideas?
I'm always looking for new ideas, but like the editor of Readers at Chess, he expressed interest in a roundup, in a booklet roundup, but said I should follow up with him in the summer to see if it would work for later in the year, which I did a few days ago, and now I'm waiting to get back from him. So I hope a commission. And also other publications like Business Insider ones. After that, I think it was after the CNN story when an editor of Business Insider got back to me and asked if I wanted to write a story for them. I said, of course, yes. So I was interested. And then about my own story of moving countries and like moving to Thailand from Switzerland. And there wasn't really a unique angle. I think that was the problem. And unfortunately, this didn't lead to a commission. But my big goal is to write regularly for top tier publications and make a living as it.
Well, I think you've shown that with kind of commitment and dedication and persistence, you could have given up years ago, but you haven't, and now your byline is in these big titles, like we say, and I'm sure it will appear in a few more over the next few years as well.
Because travel writing is really, it's my passion. Yeah, I can't imagine working as an accountant again in Switzerland. It's just, it's not mine.
Well, you've chosen the most competitive area of writing to find a living in, I would say, but it can be one of the most rewarding as well, experience-wise at least. So congratulations. Yeah, I mean, I'm really proud of you. I think, like I say, although we did some coaching, I don't think much of my help led to any commissions while I was coaching you anyway, but it's great to see your name in these titles now, and I think it just shows, like I say, what a bit of persistence and dedication and commitment can achieve. So thanks for your time, Philip. we'll keep in touch for sure. And I'm sure I'll see your byline around and about. And maybe we'll catch up in a year or two again, and there'll be even more to talk about.
Hopefully.
Great.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot, Philip. Take care.